Welcome, welcome! It's Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy bringing you another Star Citizen video. Today's video is all about the Origin M50 and the Aopoa Khartu-al in 310, as you can see in the big title. These ships had a little bit of work done to them. They've already been in the game for quite some time, and CIG decided they would touch them up, give them a little buff, or at least in the Khartu-al's case, gave it a little buff, and make these ships a little bit more, I guess, in line with where they want things to be at. So let's start with the M50. The M50 is a racing ship or an interceptor. It is very fast and very maneuverable, or at least it was. Now, well, I want to show you what it is now. Here I am getting in the cockpit. We're going to start her up, and we're going to take off from Port Al-Asar. Shouldn't be a big deal, right? We're not having to worry about the splines of the big cities. We're just going to take off and fly her out into the black. We'll look around a little bit so you can get a look at how pretty this ship is. And this is what happens when you take off. The thrusters go absolutely bonkers. This is control, or not really, as you can tell. It's absolutely nauseating. So it's kind of crazy how the ship is functioning at the moment. I don't know how many other people have tried to fly the M50. I'm sorry, I haven't looked at some of the other videos out there or some of the stuff in the issue council. I haven't had a lot of time to do that with work and everything. But have you guys seen the ship do this? Every time I try to get into it, I even destroyed them. I claimed them. Every time I got into it, this was the result. Just absolutely nauseating, spinning. The thrusters were nuts. I had to shut down the engines in order to come to some sort of stop here. And then when I brought the engines back up, we go back into crazy spins. So yeah, is the M50 a very good ship? Not right now. Not in my experience. Not on several servers and several attempts. You just can't use it. Period. It's kind of like on the Rock. They talk about how you can't use the tractor beam, the extractor, to pull in materials at the moment. You can't use the M50 for much of anything other than to get nauseated or a headache. This is really not the rework we wanted for this ship. This ship was really awesome the way that it flew. It was probably one of the few ships that I felt was closer to the 1.8 flight model, the way that it was. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't the way it used to be, but it was still darn good. And now, this is the result of a rework. I can honestly say it flew better in the first wave of PTU. It actually flew. But now, all it does is spin and crash. So, I would say stay away from the M50 right now. Obviously, they're going to work on it and fix it. This is a thruster issue. I believe these thrusters are firing at 100% no matter what, and they're not even constant, so it spins you out of control if you apply any thruster. So yeah, definitely something to stay away from. Now the Khartu-al, on the other hand, this ship, before it was kind of big for a light fighter, and it was a little sluggish. It had some maneuverability, but not really. The M50 was much more maneuverable. Even probably the 350R was more maneuverable, which probably shouldn't have been the case. The Buccaneer, the Arrow, those were all more maneuverable than the Khartu-al. It was designed to be probably the most maneuverable ship in the verse because it has these four main articulating thrusters that can go in any direction you need them to give you power and thrust. So it's supposed to be the most maneuverable ship in the verse. It wasn't before 310. Now I can say It definitely is one of the most maneuverable ships in the verse. I'm not going to go out there and say for sure it's the most maneuverable because I haven't tested the Buccaneer and the Arrow as of late, but I will say that I can't imagine they will be more maneuverable than the Khartu-al is right now. As you can see, the independent rigs there moving around. This ship is quick and it strafes like crazy. It's fun to fly, though it might be a tad over maneuverable or too maneuverable for a lot of people's taste. It's kind of hard to get used to such high maneuverability, though with a few hours of practice you could probably manage it. Something else that they did for this ship to make it better, they buffed it. They gave it better shields. They gave it better guns. Now instead of size 3s fixed, it has size 4 fixed or size 3 gimbaled. So you can actually use this thing and pack a punch with those bigger guns. Now I will take this thing into combat and you'll be able to see it here in a few minutes how it fares in combat. I decided I would do a couple different missions. I tried an ECN mission. Then I 30K'd out of the game. Yes, the 30Ks are still there. Last night I had a lot of luck as far as only having one crash in about 3 hours. Today, not so fortunate. There was a couple of 30Ks. I think there was a 16,000K or 16K rather. Yeah, it was not the most stable way to play the game. I did try to do a canyon run in this on Daymar, and it was pretty successful. Again, it's a little touchy. It's a little too maneuverable at times. You just kind of have to watch the way you're flying because it's bigger than a smaller ship like an M50. So it's the size ship it is, it's highly maneuverable. So instead of flying in a very tight area with all the little juts that jut out from the ship, all the little pieces that jut out from the ship, you kind of have to be careful around certain things so you don't clip any one of those pieces of your ship on anything, because if you clip one, you're pretty much toast. You're going to blow up. Now here I am in Yellow's asteroid field, and I thought, okay, let's go and try to do one of the missions that we clear out one of the pirate gangs. I believe this is the Ninetales mission. Anyways, it's a patrol mission. You meet up with a herald from either Crusader Industries or the Advocacy, and they make you wait for a second before sending you out on a patrol. All that's fairly simple and easy. But when you get into combat, which is where you would hope this thing would shine, and I have been successful in combat in the PTU in Wave 1 with this thing. Seems like there may be some other issues to deal with here. Now keep in mind, going into this combat, I have grade A military equipment for everything. Both my shields are grade A, my coolers are grade A, and my power supply is grade A. I'm going to speed this part up just a little bit so we can get on to the combat. You don't need to be watching me fly 20 kilometers in. But as we get closer, I will actually slow my engines down so I can approach at a reasonable speed. So the whole idea here is to patrol the area, find the bad guys, and kill the bad guys. It's a typical mission here. So we have a Cutlass Black that we are engaging here, and you're going to notice that I'm going to end up getting a couple of missiles fired at me. I'm doing pretty well at making some good hits here on this Cutty Black, and then 2 missiles is all it took to completely obliterate the Khartu-al with 2 grade A shields. So, not necessarily the best ship for fighting, but it's cool to fly. If you guys like the video, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy. I'll see you out in the verse.